Let's see. Are we live? Hey, everybody. Let's make sure my mic is there. Yep, I think I'm on. Good evening. Let me just check in. Give folks a few minutes to come on in. It's Wednesday, which means it's Wealthy You Wind Down Wednesday. Hey. Tell me who is in the house with me. Just tell me who you are and what city you are hailing from. And this is our Wealthy You Wind Down Wednesday, and I got a lot to talk about. I hope you've got a lot to talk about tonight. Hey, Miss Nina, I tell you, I don't know about y'all, but I am so excited. I'm just overjoyed. And I'm going to talk, but to tell you the truth, I was mad. Ooh, last week, I got to share a few things because I had some things on my mind. And so come on in, because we need to talk about it. And if you're just joining us for the first time, I'm Deborah Owens. I'm founder of Wealthy You, also known as America's Wealth Coach, and we teach Black women how to build their first 5, 6, and now 7-figure investment portfolios. So I've got a lot to talk about tonight. I want to say a shout out to our Wealthy You goal getters in the Wealthy You community, as well as in the Wealthy You society. And so I'll talk about that a little later. But this is Wealthy You Wind Down. And so what that requires of you is to get your favorite glass of vino. Whether it is a Cabernet, maybe you're a Sauvignon Blanc, maybe you like Chardonnay, maybe you don't drink, and hey, just get a glass and put some, Perrier water or something like that in it, and come on in and wind down with us, because, woo! In these times of COVID-19, sometimes you need to wind down. So again, what am I drinking tonight? This is a Domaine Rosé. And I'm first I was a Chardonnay drinker, and then I started drinking some Cabs because they said red wine was good for you, not good, but better for you. But now, because it's summertime, I'm drinking this very light rosé. And hey, sometimes you got to change it up a little bit. But come on down, folks. Chef Nina's in the house. Let's see who else is in here with me. Shelly is in. Let's give folks a few more minutes because I got started on time. Not a first, but close. So, come on in, because I tell you, what do we want to talk about? Well, of course, we want to talk about Black Girl Magic. And in particular, what has been on my mind for the past week or so has been who is going to be the VP presidential candidate. So a week ago, I am overjoyed right now, but a week ago, I was feeling some kind of way. And it really was around I tell you, I don't care what we do. It is never enough. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been looking on social media. And you expect that there's going to be opposition, right? Like, I don't know about you, but I know in my life, whenever I'm met with opposition, I know I'm getting closer to whatever that breakthrough is going to be. And typically, what you must know as a woman, and as a black woman in particular, is that many times we're operating in a hostile environment. Let's just be clear. We are not being affirmed, no matter what our intellect, our brilliance, our genius, our creativity, our ability to innovate. And certainly, if you attended the Black Girl Magic, Wealth All Day event, we talked a little bit about overcoming and the fact that so often women of color, black women, are not affirmed. And so I want to talk to you guys about why I was so mad last week. I mean, I was so mad. I felt like I was back in junior high when I was ready to take off my earrings and fight a boy. Now, you know I must have been crazy. But anyhow, I'm going to come back to that. But that's the feeling that came over me as I began to hear these, I'm going to say if they're rumors or leaks, just about the whole process of the vetting of the vice presidential candidates, and some of the things they were saying about Kamala in particular, about, ambition. She's too ambitious, or she's not nice enough. Or, I mean, I just got to ask you, all of you, particularly if you're a woman listening to me, has that ever happened to you? Hey, Phyllis, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, Sharon, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Come on in, come on in. I mean, has that ever happened? Well, I know that, to be honest with you, from the time, I started showing any kind of, hey, Virginia, welcome, welcome, welcome. But, from the time that I was, it's as long as I can remember, just, being ambitious and being driven even as a young girl and wanting to compete, whether it was in sports, whether it was in cheerleading, whether it was in government, right? Like student government, which is really, I mean, think about it. That's where you begin to develop your leadership skills, your ability to defend your position, to have an argument, to debate, to legislate, to be persuasive. I mean, are you guys with me? Like, that is when you begin to develop those skills. And yet, when you're young, well, particularly in my day and age, I went to a Catholic high school, and literally we were kind of filtered into the administrative and the secretarial kinds of roles. Even in high school. You guys with me? Hey, good evening, good evening, good evening. Come on in, because I have something to talk about tonight. And it's about ambition. And so my question to you, and in fact, I just wrote a little newsletter about it. And then, is ambition a blessing or a curse for women? So I just want to throw that out to you guys. Have you looked at being ambition as a blessing or a curse in your life? Just yes or no. Put it in the comment section. Yes or no. Has ambition been a blessing or a curse in your life? Because I think it's important for me to weigh in on that and just be clear with women that ambition is a necessary trait of success, of your success. And Don't let anybody tell you anything different. So that's right. Definitely a blessing. Hey, Stacy, come on in, come on in. Hey, Belinda. Ooh, the Wealthy You Go-Getters are in the house. It's Wealthy You Wind Down. If you're just joining, I'm Deborah Owens. I am founder of Wealthy You. And we're all about building wealth, securing the bag, learning how to invest. And by the way, all you Wealthy You Go-Getters, I hope you guys are going over your research on your stocks. I'm next week it's Q&A, so you better be analyzing those stocks so that you can get your questions answered. Virginia, that's right. Whenever you try to rise, there will always be some major opposition or a negative connotation. That's right. Okay, Tamiko. That's right. Get your let's enjoy. We're having wind down. But tonight, if you're just coming in, I was just sharing with folks. So Belinda says ambition has been a blessing, but due to the misconceptions of others, they have tried to make it a curse. That's right. That's what will happen to you. But I want you to understand that ambition is a necessary trait of success, financial success for women in particular. And so I want to break that down for you this evening. And, and I think that what's interesting is if you were at the Black Girl Magic Wealth event, you heard Minda Hart speak on this specifically. The fact that you have to advocate for yourself, right? And so in order to advocate, you have to go inside yourself and be ambitious enough to advocate for yourself. And yes, being ambition has been a blessing. That's right, Sharon. However, it tends to attract envy at times. There's no question about that. There's no question about that. That here, you know what? I tell people this story. I was traveling with Bishop T.D. Jakes and God's Leading Ladies. And, I'd never been around a that close to a celebrity that, garnered the kind of attention that he got. And then you're kind of in his inner circle. And so you were constantly meeting people. And I can recall him saying to me very bluntly and frankly, and it was like, everybody ain't got to like you. And so his point was, don't feel like you have to be a certain way to people. Let people accept you for what you are. You bring something to the table. You're of value. And so that you have to own that. So what we're talking about, hey, Stephanie, what we're talking about is ownership. And so getting back to my story, or what I wanted to talk about tonight and why I was so mad last week was because, now I'm going to be honest with you, totally transparent. I definitely had my picks for vice presidential candidates. How about y'all? Did you? I mean, come on now. Let's be clear. You guys know you had, and the beauty of it, I mean, the bench was long in terms of women who were qualified and that had the vitae and brought everything necessary. I mean, come on now, overqualified, especially if we compare them to anybody in the current administration. Okay, now let's just be clear on that. Women's vitae, accomplishments, you name it. Let's just go down the list. And so, I don't know if you guys follow me on Twitter, but that's where I do a lot of my just little ranting or whatever, my opinions. If you want to really know what they are, check out Twitter. Sometimes I'm sure my husband Terry wants to, would you stop being on Twitter all the time, telling people stuff? That's not your business. And I'm like, well, you know what? Sometimes you just got to be you. So anyhow, so okay, so Tamika, you said you were sad to hear Susan Rice was not considered anymore for her international experience. I heard that her stocks came up as a bone of contention for some. She is a wealthy woman, but check this out, because I wanted to talk about, that's exactly what I was going to talk about tonight. Sorry, I have all these lights on in here and this bug is killing me. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to talk about before he made his announcement is, if he had made his announcement about Kamala Harris last night, I was going to talk about Susan Rice. And the reason I wanted to talk about Susan Rice, because that's right, they started bringing up all this stuff about the stocks that she owned, and some of them were in, defense contracting. I mean, not defense contracting, but defense. And yeah, I guess they could be defense contractors. But, she owned a lot of assets, and I mean, some pharmaceuticals. I mean, girl was in pharmaceutical technology. Hey, Sylvia, she had it going on, right? And so, in talking about Susan Rice, one of the points that I wanted to make was, when you just think about how frank, and to me, how authentic and how real Susan Rice is, and the reason she is able to do that is because she is independently wealthy in her own right. Girl has secured her bag, and so she is not concerned with whether or not, what she says. I mean, not that she isn't a woman of integrity, but my point is that wealth gives you a certain amount of freedom. You guys get where I'm going? Like, that really is the what do I want to call it? The mindset or the objective that, wealth, sometimes people think of it as money or this, or, really, when you start thinking about buying material things or having these certain things to make you feel certain kind of way and value, that is not wealth. That is seeking, riches, or, I mean, I think a perfect example is the way that money is framed in the current political environment that we're in, right? Clearly, that's not wealth, right? So, because wealth gives you a certain amount of freedom that you don't have to talk about it all the time. You guys getting this? I think the quote is, poor is flashy, poor is flamboyant, rich is flashy, and wealth is quiet, right? Now, that's something I say all the time, is that real wealth is quiet. You got that? And so when I was talking, hey, Charmaine, who else is in the house? Suzanne is in. Awesome. Welcome to Wealthy You Wind Down. And tonight I am talking about women and ambition. Okay? So certainly Susan Rice would be an example of an ambitious woman who is an intellectual heavyweight in her own right, knowledgeable about foreign affairs, and you name it. Who knows? She could be our next Secretary of State. I'm not mad at her. But tonight, what I wanted to talk about is the role that ambition plays, and how it can sometimes be perceived as a curse or something that is negative in women. And I really want to stand firm in my acknowledgement that after coaching hundreds and now thousands of women, here's what I want you to know is that ambition is a necessary trait to be financially successful. Now that's just the point I want to make. Right, there's still room in the cabinet for other sisters. That's exciting as well. That's right. Love it, Stacy. And so, to be honest with you, I have always been attracted to ambitious women. Some of my mentors through my life have been ambitious women. And the reason that I have been attracted to them is certainly because that was something that I aspired to do, to live a life of significance, to impact others, to be rewarded for my efforts. That's something that I always felt was very important, being in corporate organizations, and not being afraid when I made contributions to convey my value, the value that I add. Because you see, that's what an ambitious woman does. She is not afraid to convey the value that she adds because she earned it. Now, I'm not talking about somebody who's braggadocious or who, is always talking about her accomplishments to build herself up. I am talking about if I am vying for a more role with more responsibility, I have to be able to convey that my track record and my performance has prepared me to take on more responsibility. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? And so when I hear somebody talking about Kamala Harris, right? And that she's too ambitious, woo, the hairs go up on my neck. It's like, okay. Do you guys feel that way? I mean, when they bring up that word ambition about women, you know what I think of? Brilliance. Okay? Like shining like a diamond. Okay? Like that is what Black Girl Magic is about. It's about being confident because you have earned the right. You've got the scars. You stayed up all night. You've gotten those degrees. You went toe to toe. You've hit sales numbers. You've outperformed. Why shouldn't I relish in my ambition? Okay? If I am making an impact. You feel me, you guys? You understand what I'm saying? So, when I was hearing those crusty old men, now let me tell it like it is, talking about, she wasn't, what did they say? Something about, now you got this crazy man talking about she's disrespectful. Typically when somebody says something like that about you, it's a reflection in the mirror. And I just want to put that out there for everybody to be clear on. Now, the other thing and I'm just, now that I'm on my little high horse this evening, the other thing that I want to talk about is the enemy within. Okay? Because I have a problem with our men, Black men, getting on the bandwagon, talking about the same thing. She's not this, she's not that, she's not this, she's not that. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like, no, we gonna nip this at the bud. Either you're in or you're out, right? So we spend so much time. Now let me just be clear. If it wasn't for Black women, I got to say what I got to say tonight. Okay? If it were not for Black women, I don't know what this world would be like. I know that my aunts And my mother and her sister and my grandmother and my great grandmother and my cousins and my sisters, let me tell you, there would be no black family. Okay? There would be no black church. And there would not be the political strides that we have made in this country if it were not for black women. Okay? Are we clear on that? That was what was on my mind this evening. Okay? And so it took me back to when I was in junior high school running for student council president. And this little boy gonna tell me, oh, girls can't be president. You maybe could be the secretary and take the minutes. Woo! You know, that's when you want to take off your earrings. I was like, you don't even know. But you know what? I figured I didn't have to take off my earrings because I was more eloquent, more knowledgeable. And when I got up to make my little speech to become president of my junior high 8th grade class, guess who won? Okay? Now, that is when I learned the true necessity and value for women to be ambitious. Because if you are not, let me just prepare you for what it will happen to you. Okay? And we talk about that. So what I'm talking about have to do with wealthy you? Everything. Okay? Everything. Because if you think about it, how many times have I been coaching a woman and she has been in the same role for 5 years and she has been passed over and stepped over? Why? Because she was not ambitious enough to ask for what she wanted, and then if she didn't get it ambitious enough to have another strategy and proceed to find the opportunity in another organization who value what she brought to the table. Are you with me? Okay? And so what happens is we end up in roles underpaid, right? No acknowledgement for the accomplishments that we have, because we are sitting back waiting on someone to tap us on the shoulder, thinking that is what women do. No. You can see this has hit a nerve with me. And that's why I was so mad last week. I was like, let me just tell y'all something. Kamala, she does not have to be anything other than who she is, because her accomplishments speak for themselves. This woman was an attorney general, ran for the Senate in the state of California, one of the most populous states in the United States, won. And you mean to tell me you folks got something to say about this woman's accomplishments and her being too ambitious? And then we've got the little chattering folks in the community talking about she was Do you remember? I'm from Detroit. Do you remember when drugs were infested in our cities? And come on now. Now, I don't care who brought them in, but the fact was that if your mother walked out that door and got hit in the head, you wanted someone to be taken care of. So, all y'all folks talking about, oh, well, this, and that, just step aside. Like, you either in or you out. And so the other point that I want to make tonight is the responsibility for, I'm talking about black women. Now, black men, y'all know better than anybody what black women are about. All right? Because we gave birth to y'all. Okay? But now I want to talk about the responsibility of black women. Now, it is not enough to get in the position that she's in. Now it is time to show up. It is time to show her the same kind of respect that we had to show for our First Lady Michelle Obama. She will be attacked. There will be opposition, but we will meet that opposition with our organization and with the investment of our dollars in this campaign, right? Like, make no mistake about it. It's time to step up. And if we truly are going to seize the moment is now upon us. So, ladies, what are you going to do? And so, okay, I said what I said, but that's the point that I want to make, right? Like, now is not the time to sit back, because we have less than 90 days, folks. And my question to you is, getting back to what my topic is this evening, are you going to use that ambition for good? And using that ambition for good means lifting as we climb, but also taking a stand. So are y'all with me? That's right. I ain't playing with y'all tonight, Conchetta, because, sometimes you sit back and you just observe. And then at some point you say, okay, it is no longer serving you to wait to be chosen. Okay? Like, my frustration is that, and that's why I wrote the love letter. This is exactly why I wrote the love letter. And if you haven't read it, go to my website, Overcoming a Financial Love Letter to Women. Because my point, and I want to acknowledge and affirm it, if we are in a hostile environment, we're not being affirmed, so we need to affirm one another. And what I want you to know, that your brilliance, your intellect, that you are innovative, that you bring a lot to the table, that you create trends, you create culture, and now it's time to turn that ambition, that brilliance, that intellect into wealth. Are you with me? And that's why ambition is a necessary trait to be financially successful, because you have to advocate for yourself. You have to demand what you are worth. And you have to, at the end of the day, money and wealth is an idea. I want you to get this. Money and wealth is an idea. And that your ability to turn your ideas into a tangible result that is value, and that you capture that value, you can do it through a myriad of ways. You can do it in the form of serving others, whether it is through your occupation or through entrepreneurship. And you can also do it by investing in other companies and sharing in that wealth. And Lord knows that the black economy, you hear the $1 trillion in buying power. I'm saying we have to capture that $1 trillion in buying power, and we can do it in the form of understanding how the financial markets work and how to build wealth. That's what Wealthy You is about. And that's what, so it's not enough to have wealth. Wealth has to flow and has to make an impact. And one of the ways you do that is through legislation and making sure that the people who are in positions of power and writing these laws are doing it in a way that is in your favor. Are y'all with me? Okay, so, wealth for wealth's sake means nothing. But you have to understand the game. Okay? There is a way to play this game and be successful. And you cannot think in magic. Someone's not going to come and tap you on the shoulder and say, oh, you've just been such a great little girl. We're going to now reward you. That's not how this game is played. Okay? Are y'all with me? Okay. One of my Wealthy You sisters asked, how did the financial markets react to Biden's VP news? That's a great question. Well, the market is up. But see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, let's not get it twisted. The stock market is not the economy. I want you guys to understand this. The stock market is not the economy. Right now, the market is just didn't hit a new high yesterday, and yet you've got the worst GDP in the world. I mean, in history, gross domestic product, meaning our economy has slowed. Okay, small businesses are shutting down. So why is the market is up? So I just had this conversation with a coaching client today, helping them understand that the stock market is not the economy. The reason the market is up right now is because of monetary policy. And monetary policy right now has interest rates so low that it is spurring economic activity, because that's what monetary policy is supposed to do. So basically what has happened is they've ginned up this economy. Interest rates are so low, there's nowhere for the money to go. So the money is going to the stock market, because you can't even earn above inflation in something like a savings or a money market account. So with interest rates being so low, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're not at negative interest rates before this election. So you have refinancings going on in terms of home ownership. You've got people buying homes because those people who have a job and can get financing can buy homes, right? So that's why you have all of that. That is the main reason that the stock market is up. It's not because the economy is good, because it is not. Are you with me? Okay, so let's not get that twisted, all right? And so, you hear this little fallacy about, when the Republicans are in, it's great for the economy. Every time those jokers have gotten in, they've run the deficit up. And then as soon as the Democrats got in, they're like, oh, the deficits are so high. We've got to, get rid of Social Security, get rid of healthcare. I mean, it's just so ridiculous, right? But again, if you don't know how this game is played, you will get snookered. So anyhow, I digress. But that was a good question. So let's see. So you guys have any questions, any comments on my, this whole ambition things? Look, ladies, here's all I gotta say is that we are at, a pretty, what I consider to be a crossroads. It's like, if it is to be, it's up to us. And we're at a crossroads. When I just think about everything that my parents sacrificed for, moving from the South, the Jim Crow South, up until to the city, the indignities, everything that they suffered. And when I hear people, I don't mean just young people in either. I mean folks have forgotten their history. And if you knew the sacrifice, and then John Lewis passed, right? And that just he was from Troy, Alabama. My father was born in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and my mother grew up in a small town, Pineapple, Alabama. And going there as a child and just seeing the same kind of animus and just downright evilness of people. It helped me to see at a very early age to understand that all racism was a ploy for economic advantage. I mean, let's just be clear on it. That's all it is, right? It's, if I keep you down, I'm gonna do better than you. Now that's all it is. I mean, I can remember being maybe, I couldn't have been even any more than 6 or 7 when I was like, oh, okay. So that's why they do that to black folks, so that they have some kind of advantage, right? And in my little young mind, I thought to myself, there is no advantage. The only advantage you have is to play what I call that psychological warfare of racism. Okay, because that's all it is. Let's be clear. If I tell you enough that you're not this or you're not that, you will begin to believe it and you will act as if it is so. Right? And so let's be clear, that's exactly where we're at today. I mean, there is no question in my mind. And you get to take a stand. You get to vote. So, when I hear people talking about, oh, well, I didn't like them or whatever, I mean, do you know that people were hung on trees for you to have the ability to say what you want to say today? Are you kidding me? I mean, are you kidding me? And I don't know if you saw John Lewis's service, but when the gentleman that was right after Bill Clinton, you know how they like to tell these little stories about how John Lewis would preach to the chickens. And that he went on to be a preacher and he was ordained and blah, blah, blah. But the next gentleman got up, Lawson, and he talked about, no. Y'all love that little story. But the real deal was John Lewis saw how his uncles and his people were treated. And he was there to see a young boy seeing lynchings and people leaving. I mean, that is the Alabama my parents grew up in. So if anything, you need to go to Montgomery, Alabama and go to the lynching museum. I haven't been there yet because I don't think I'm psychologically ready for it yet. But if you really want to be clear on the evil we are up against, then let's get clear. So let me just circle right back around to where I began. Okay? And that is that ambition is a necessary trait for success, particularly for women. And I refuse for anybody to tell me anything different. Okay? So that's what was on my mind for Wealthy You Wind Down. So let me just look at some of your comments, because I know I've been on my soapbox tonight. That's right. Money and wealth is an idea. Tell it, Tawana. Let's see. Just had to advocate for myself. There was a $300,000 RFP that was due to an internal issue. My bid was not included. I just had to fight today and get on that bid. I escalated this issue to the county mayor's office and was about to go to the press. I wasn't playing, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you better know that if you are met with opposition, that you need to meet that opposition, because your blessing is right beyond that. right? Like, no, don't lay down. Sometimes people say, oh, well, sometimes you just got to wait. No, you don't wait your turn. You've been waiting. How long we got to wait? We got to wait 400 more years, 800 more years. Get out of here. No, we're not waiting. Tell me no and be able to tell me why I didn't get something. It can't be just be, oh, you just didn't think, or well, you was late, or, no. Like, that person over there, give me their qualification. Here are mine. Now you tell me why I wasn't qualified to get whatever. And I tell you, when people, now here's the point I have told my children, and they will, whenever I get ready to say it, they repeat, they just finish it for me. I know, Ma, whatever you accept, you'll get more of. You understand what I'm saying? And let me tell you, people will try you. If you're in an organization, and if you don't get that raise, and they say, oh well, because they got so much money they could get around, and then they'll say, oh well, she'll be okay. We'll give her. I'm gonna tell y'all a story. That just brings this story up. So I go into sales because sales is where I feel like the playing field is level. You with me? Because, you sell so many, I sell so many. We'll see who sells the most. And I'll never forget, we far surpassed our number. And don't you know what they did? They increased my goals by like 50% more than another person. And I was not having it. And I told them as such. And then if it wasn't changed, I was prepared to walk. And walk I did. And you have to be prepared to do that, because you know what? And then you know what? So that set the stage for everybody else. They're like, woo, we won't. So you got to stand for something. And sometimes it means, sometimes if you're in an organization, and if you're giving it your all in all, and if you're asking your leadership, what do you need to do to perform, to succeed, to move further, because that's what organizations should be doing. They should be growing leaders, because that's how they grow, right? Like, you don't grow by keeping other people small. No. You want to groom people. You want them to go ahead. You want them to get more opportunities. You want to get more opportunities. That is growth. Things have to grow. Okay? So if you're in an organization and you're giving it your all, and you're and you're investing, and you're doing everything that you're supposed to do, and you're helping the organization grow, and you're coming up with ideas, and you want to see an organization flourish, and if you are not rewarded, there are only two things you can do. I want you guys to get this. If you are within an organization and you are not being rewarded for your efforts, it's either your direct manager, right? Which means that then if you got to seek out other opportunities in that organization to grow, and if that does not present itself, guess what you have to do? You got to find another organization. Are you guys with me? I mean, I just want, and that is why ambition is required. Takes me right back to ambition, right? Because in order to advocate for yourself, in order to move forward, you deserve to have everything you desire. But it is not going to come without opposition. And it is going to require of you to stand up for yourself, to be able to convey how you add value, to advocate for others as well. And if you do that, you should be rewarded. And that's just my argument, right? For everyone. And what is happening, and what I see over and over again, coaching Black women, and specifically, is that you are settling. And you are thinking that there's nowhere you can go. or there's no opportunities. And that, my friend, is a poverty mindset. That is a poverty mindset, that it's a zero-sum game and there's not enough. There's more than enough for you. You just have to have the desire to seek it out. And that, ladies, takes ambition. All right. Are y'all with me? That's right. You have to advocate for yourself. That's right, Beverly. Money and wealth are ideas. Yes. You hear me loud and clear? That's right, Suzanne. You got to get on. You got to advocate for yourself. So, yay for Suzanne. How will the football seasons affect the economy? Well, yeah, I mean, that's part of, listen, guys, but here's what I want you to, so I want to form that question in another way. How will the cancellation of college football seasons affect the economy, creating a $700 billion loss in revenue? So I want you to begin to think about, ladies. You know, we started this, the Wealthy You Society membership in April. And, you know, just talked about seeing the possibility and the volatility. And I think it remains true today. It always remains. I want you to begin thinking about what is around the corner. How will our lives fundamentally change? What will football look like? Well, I don't know. I think football probably is going to look like, until they get a handle on COVID and there's some kind of vaccine and we're not fearful of catching it because we're going to be in crowds, I think what football is going to look like is probably virtual. You know, you may have, think of Madden, right? And feel like we're physically in that stadium, but we're not. And there are people next to us, but they're virtual, and that the players are somehow playing. I mean, that's how I see it. So let's think about the significance of that. What are the companies and the innovation that's going to require? So, you know, that would mean investing in the kind of virtual reality world. You know, they created that technology and it never really has taken off. I think that virtual reality is going to be a big deal, even in terms of new events. What is it going to do to our lifestyle? You know, I was talking about RVs becoming all the rage, and that people are going to, you know, if they go away, they're going to be in their automobiles, and they probably are going to want some place that they know is not, you know, is sanitized. So that's how we need to be thinking. We've got to think about the fundamental change, just psychologically, that has happened to so many of us. I mean, if you've lost a relative, a parent, you know, I mean, how will we adapt in this new environment that we're in? That's really what we got to be thinking about. We've got to be thinking about it as it relates to investing, and we've got to be thinking about it as it relates to our own livelihoods and our lifestyles. What do we need to do to navigate effectively? And what is becoming clear is going to be a virtual reality. Basically, I am talking to you through a camera using technology that allows me to, and by the way, I didn't say that we're actually streaming on YouTube. We are on my Facebook page. And so if you want to hear about, if you want to join into our conversations, make sure you join up for the Wealthy You community. That's our Facebook Wealthy You community page. Make sure you do that. And, Tawana and Stephanie are going to kill me. No, they're not going to kill me. But guess what, ladies? we are having another 5-day Savvy Money Makeover Challenge, and it is going to be so much fun. We're going to have prizes, we're going to have gifts, we're going to have giveaways, and that official announcement will be on probably Monday the 17th, but the actual launch will be on 8/24. So if you want to be like some of these women who are right here today who found an extra $200, $300, $400, $500, $1,000, even $2,000 a month, have paid off debts since then in less than 90 days, I am not kidding you, are contributing the maximum to their retirement plans, have opened up Roth IRAs, have stash accounts, are investing in stock, are learning how to analyze and research stock. If you want to learn more about that, make sure you join the Wealthy You community, because that's where all of the details will be housed. If you're watching this on replay, just say replay, okay? But if you want to get in on what we're up to and learn how to find the money to invest so you can build your first, we already have somebody who built their first 5, they're already past 10K. We have people who now are approaching, $500,000 in their retirement plans, who are making their first, who are going to be at their first 6 figures just based on, market certainly has something to do with that. I'm not going to take credit for. I'm not going to take all the credit. But in the 5-day Savvy Money Makeover, what you're going to be introduced to is the kind of financial hacks, tactics, and strategies that, we use in wealth coaching, that our Wealthy You Society members have used to just have some amazing financial transformations. And not only that, but it's not enough to find the money. Then you've got to learn how to come up with the system to invest it. And certainly that's what Wealthy You is about. So we are so excited. You want to make sure you tell your friends so that they could get in and so they're there for the training. I mean, basically, I'm going to be training every night. So you're going to get an assignment every morning, and every night you're going to be in training, and we're going to show you exactly what you need to do to find the money to invest. I was really bragging on the Wealthy You Society members and those who went through our last challenge. And actually, we've been pitching it to a couple of news outlets because, think about COVID and just all of the kind of sad news that you hear. But in Wealthy You, and I'm sure all of you will agree, one of the things that I'm most proud of is that the unintended consequences of COVID has been that many of you aren't spending all that money on your hair, your nails, eating out, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but man, Terry and I were just saying, man, we've never eaten so much leftovers, like being creative now. And so, with that, the opportunity has really been to see that you don't need as much as you thought you need. A lot of that food just came with all of the calories and everything with it. And so as a result, we've had some women do some amazing things. And if you want to see how some of the Wealthy You members show up, go to the website, wealthyu.com, and you'll see how one of our Wealthy You go-getters, she was interviewed for being on her way to becoming a 401k millionaire. We have another one of our Wealthy You go-getters who's featured talking about how she learned how to invest in her retirement plan and learned how to invest in stocks and is investing for her children. So those features, the other thing that I'm proud about is just the our ability to really highlight our members in a very positive light, and because they're taking ownership of their financial success, and they're doing it in a community that is supportive. That's right, Maria, eating out, accountability and support. What I'm most proud of is the fact that many of you in the Wealthy You Society have stepped up. You're making your intentions public, using the community as a way to hold each other accountable. You are being transparent and are not afraid to ask questions. And, the team and I were talking about it today, just how grateful we are for the growth of this community, but not only the growth of the community, but the growth of our members' personal success. I mean, that's the best thing at all, just to hear some of these remarkable stories about you negotiating stock options and getting new jobs and investing and making your first stock purchase. Man, we get up and we just want to run around the table, because how you visualize things, and you just have to step out on faith. So again, thank you for joining me on Wealthy You Wind Down. Go Kamala. Let's go out here and take a stance, and just be grateful that this woman, whose parents came here seeking a better life and a great education, raised 3 daughters, and now one is actually a vice presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. Woo! Black girl magic. I'm going to end it on that tonight. So you guys have a blessed night, and I'll see you here next week. And don't forget, if you know anybody, make sure you join our Wealthy You community. Just search for Wealthy You community. Come on in and get in on what we're up to. So that's going to do it for me this evening, guys. Have a great night.